partnered with in the past.
Oh.
Um, oops, recording in progress. Um, uh, anyway, so we are continuing to do it, but it always looks a little bit different for each show because we don't start partnership first. We start programming first. What are the plays that that it's our primary job is to put on seasons of plays that patrons of contemporary professional theater want to see, but then looking at each one and saying what would be helpful. I know that for next season, we're looking at some different kinds of events, a panel discussion around one of them, some lobby displays with a lot of research for another one, some fun, community audience building events for a third. So, you know, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we were just talking. That was a staff meeting agenda item last week was engagement for the shows coming up and what communities do we want to hit and what do we want the audience to know more about. So very quickly, and some of you have seen our brochures, some of you have probably already resubscribed. Thank you. But 4 main shows. First one continues. We decided, what the heck? World Premiere Wisconsin is going to run in 2023. It ran 3 months, and this year it's the whole year. So we're taking advantage of that. We had Lady Disdain. Now we're going to do Steady She Goes by a local playwright, Erica Berman. True story about a woman named Mary Patton who was on a ship commanded by her husband who fell ill, and she took over. You can imagine how in the what years?
1850s.
1850s. Well, let's be honest. In 2026, that would be an issue. I bet it was more in 1850. Successfully did that, but it's sea shanties. It's women empowerment. It is a lively, entertaining show. 4 seasons just did a reading of it, and we were fortunate enough, a very successful reading, and it just played beautifully because they did a talk back. People asked, well, what happens next? And Sarah Marty was able to say it goes on to Forward Theater for a full production. That's being directed by Brian Cowing too, which I can't emphasize enough how perfect that pairing is.
Yep.
Next show is an updated version, and I'm going to give you the original title, and you're going to guess what the title is now. It was originally called Angel Street. Anybody?
Angel Street.
Mm-hmm.
It's Gaslight. Gaslight, is that Ingrid Bergman, Charles Boyer movie. So they've now named it Gaslight. We have an updated version of Gaslight. I'm excited to have people be informed about where that term came from, because it came from this original play called Angel Street. The term being gaslit comes from this play. Third is Dakar 2000 by Rajiv Joseph. We did King James and the one. No, what else did we do? Did we do another Rajiv or just King James? I think just King James, right?
We did another one, didn't we?
I think so.
Doesn't matter.
I think The Wanderers?
No.
Okay. Well, it'll come to us. Rajiv Joseph, Dakar 2000, set in the world of man in the Peace Corps. And then it's kind of a spy, who's playing whom, who's really in charge here. And that's all I'm going to say about that one, because it's a back and forth in the same way that I loved about like Oleana, where you're like, that one's right. No, that one is. Oh, I like their point of view. It goes back and forth like that. And is really, it's fantastic. And he's an incredible playwright. And we'll remember the other play we did. Scott will tell us at some point in this talk.
I think this is our second one. I think this is our second.
I think we've
just done King James.
I think King James is the only Rajiv Joseph.
I think what's in the literary committee, we read a lot of his because we love him. So that's probably what I'm thinking. Anyway, last one is First Lady of Television. First Lady of Television is not Lucille Ball. The first lady of television is Gertrude Berg, who did a show called The Goldbergs and then was forced to deal with one of her co-workers and co-actors being accused of being a communist. And what does she do about that? So we're going to have some of it. Some of it is the TV show, and then and different characters in the TV show, and then they step back and they're real life people, and that's going to be a big one that Jen's going to direct. We are bringing back this might not mean anything to you, but a guy named Jonathan West, who is a longtime Milwaukeean who ran a theater called Bialystok and Bloom, and a longtime Milwaukeean named Chris Fleer, who ran with his wife a company called In Tandem, are both going to be in the cast. So I personally am so excited about that.
Yeah. It's going to be a great season.
Yeah. Yeah. And something for all. I loved this past season when maybe Gutenberg the musical wasn't exactly someone's taste. And the beauty of the forward audiences is they let us know. Oh, I loved that one. That was my favorite one. Or, oh, Julie, not for me. And I would then say, I'm so excited because our next show is Ironbound. So if what you need, is a meaty meal, we've got it for you. If you want just to laugh out loud, we've got that for you too. And I enjoy the diversity of our of the shows that we present.
Yeah. Oh, Jane.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jane, you're muted.
Unmute.
There you go.
Do you plan any sort of connection or relationship with Alex G's new Black History Center?
Oh, what a great question. We have very much offered up our expertise, our support, our enthusiasm, our cheerleading. Yeah. I think they're very much figuring out what
to do,
what they want and what they need.
Right.
I know they've got the fabulous Dana Pellebon, who starred in our production of Clyde's a couple seasons ago, very involved. So we have tried to, we're so thrilled of what they're doing there and that they're incorporating theater and the arts into that space, and very much wanting to just be like cheerleaders for that and not overly insert ourselves. So just from the first day they announced it, we've been like, look, whatever you need,
exactly,
knock on our door. And if nothing else, we'll just be there with bells on to celebrate you. So we're kind of in that phase right now.
Yeah, I look forward to going to the open house on Wednesday. Yeah, it looks spectacular. But yeah, we're on the sidelines cheering and here if we can help in any way.
Good.
It's so great.
Yep.
Good things happening in our community these days.
Yeah.
Isn't it true?
I'll say.
Yeah.
Too.
Anything? What's the name? Oh, the name of that theater.
The Black Excellence Center. Oh, the name of the theater. Did they have?
Because it's the Center for Black Excellence.
Center for Black Excellence, but I don't know that they have a name yet. I wonder if they're doing.
I haven't seen.
I ask a question?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doing a naming rights or what that is.
That's okay. I just was trying to figure out what to look up.
Yeah, but the Center for Black Excellence on Badger Road is going to be, I think, a really, really important development in Madison.
Yeah. In so many ways.
In so many ways.
Just, every time there's a new sort of civic center, not to be confused with the civic center that preceded the Overture Center, but a civic center that is constructed to serve the community and that recognizes that if they incorporate arts, it can really amplify the success and the mission and the voice of that space. It makes me very excited.
And it's paid for.
And it's paid for.
How about that?
One of the things I admire about Forward Theater from the beginning, having been part of the demise of the Madison Rep, which was a weepy, bloody, miserable demise. I've been very impressed with the fact that you've grown only as you can afford to. And you've been in the black. I mean, I think it's remarkable.
Thanks,
And
Jane.
as one who didn't raise enough money for rep, I'm very glad you're doing so much better.
Well, thank you. I mean, it,
It was a lesson to be learned, and
it's
you
also
learned
the
it.
audience, though. I mean, that's that we wouldn't be here without people coming to see what we're putting on. So
Well, it's a
it's
combination of
collaborative.
things. Yeah, but your business plan was to be in the black.
Yeah.
And you only had a few plays to begin with. You didn't add another one till you thought you could afford it. I mean, that was really a tough decision, I thought. And it worked.
Subscribers are our backbone. You said it.
Yeah, yeah.
You said it, Scott Hayden.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Uh, Knowing that we've got this core majority of our audience that signs up for the whole season and is ready to kind of go on the ride, knowing that there's some things that any given audience member can look at an upcoming season and go, oh, that one, that's
That's
definitely
the
for
one
me.
I'm most excited
That's for me.
about. Right.
And then there's another one that you may think you might like, and it turns out it's not for you. There may be one you think you're not going to like, and it turns out it's a complete surprise and like
Right.
your favorite thing ever. But the willingness to like, as you do when you go, say, to the film festival and you see a whole bunch of films, and it's not an expectation that every single one of them is going to be your favorite thing you've ever seen, but that you're going to be surprised and delighted by something unexpected. The
So
fact that
what
the majority of our,
percentage,
yeah,
Jen, what percentage of our audience is our full
subscribers.
full subscribers? Would you
It's
guess?
been about 60%.
Uh-huh.
It varies depending
Really?
on if
Yeah.
we add performances, then the percentage of subscriber, like if we had 2 extra performances of Lady Disdain in order to get more single ticket buyers in. So for that performance production, the percentage of subscribers went down because we added more
Right.
single ticket capacity, but it's about 60%.
How does that compare with other regional theaters?
It's pretty strong.
It's very strong. There
It
are a
is.
lot of, well, we have a monthly meeting with all the professional theaters in Wisconsin. And we don't want to pat ourselves on the back too much, but we are always surprised that, first of all, no company died immediately after the pandemic in Wisconsin. All of us on that call, the professional theaters, have a fairly robust subscriber base. When we're hearing nationally, people are getting rid of their subscriptions. There's article upon article upon article about how that's an old business model that is no longer working for companies. And and all the Wisconsin companies want to go, well, it's working for us.
Yeah.
So we're outliers in an interesting way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's and what I love about it, there can be talk, and we've done podcast episodes about this as well, but there can be talk saying, oh, well, if you have a subscriber base, then it makes your programming more conservative. Now that it is possible that is how it works at some other companies, but it does the opposite for us because we've got this incredible subscriber base that just says, look, we trust you. We're on for the ride. We are able to do shows that take a risk, world premieres, shows that have not been done in our state before, that don't have any name recognition. We can be more bold because we have subscribers, and it lets us do more to, I think, build new audiences and feature more diverse voices. It's a gift. It's a gift to know that 60 something% of the seats are going to be filled.
Yeah.
At the baseline.
And what we found too is that the people, who are long-term subscribers, really like their seats. And we are adding now a Thursday matinee that is to hopefully address some of those people wanting to come down from the balcony or don't want to be on the sides, or because that what we call the section A, which is that main section in the front, is pretty well taken care of by subscribers. So we're trying to open that up for others. And we've got 2 shows, Gaslight and First Lady of Television, are going to have a 4th week. So our 2nd and 4th show, we will have a 4-week run. And that's a planned thing. No.
What else would y'all like to know? It's a true
Kathleen's
AM.
got her hand raised.
Oh, Kathleen, thank you.
Hello. Well, my story on that front is, I just moved back here 4 years ago, and my brother and his wife had a subscription, so I just joined in. And they wrote to me the other day and said, "Have you read about the plays? Are you in?" And I said, "No and yes."
Yeah.
Just like I'm coming no matter what. And when I worked at Stanford, the dean of undergraduate education would say to parents when they said, "Oh, my kid doesn't like this class," and he's like, "Does he like their other three?" "Yes." And he goes, "3 out of 4 ain't bad," so right. My question is, and maybe others on the call know this already, so you can be short if you want with the answer, but can you describe what the season planning calendar is like for you? So are you planning 28 now, or what, like, where are you? How does it go
Sure.
for you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
27, 28.
that's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's working backwards. So the season that will begin this fall is our 26-27 season. We had a budget that was finalized and signed off on by our board back in February. It was presented to the board in January, and we had finished drafting it in November of
Yep.
last year, which means that picking the slate was finalized. It was voted on by our advisory company in October of last year. So just about 11 months in advance of the first show opening is when we have set this is the slate we're doing. And of those 4 plays, we've known for 2.5 years that we were going to be doing Steady She Goes.
Right.
But the other 3 plays were things that we sort of found over the first 2/3 of 2025. So it changes. Sometimes by this point in the year, we have 1 or 2 things that we know we're going to be doing, and we're looking to find the rest. Sometimes it's all swirling around. Right now, it's like I actually don't know any single play that will definitely be in our 27-28 season, but I've got about a half a dozen that are all like super in the mix that we're interested in all of them. It's going to depend partially on what rights are available and then how do things balance out. So it's kind of, I feel like we kind of always have our fingers in at least 3 different seasons simultaneously. The one that we're in, the one that's coming soon, and then the one that's right on its heels. Whoever you are asking about the Michael Wright method, you are making me laugh very hard about.
Who is that? Because it just says our pad. So if you can just unmute and let us know, because my goodness, yes, we all know what that means.
Yes. The question is about whether we use, Michael and Susan, of course.
Michael and Susan.
The Michael Wright method of casting is booking actors 2 to 3 years at least in advance of when they will appear on your stage.
Yep.
We are not quite there, but we do book actors pretty far in advance. It's partly because we have a mission statement of primarily using Wisconsin-based actors and other artists, and the folks get booked up early. And if I want Colleen Madden and David Daniel to star in Lady Disdain, I need to lock them down pretty far in advance in order for their schedules to work.
And there's some shows that we read and like Lady Disdain, and you say, oh my gosh, I would be so sad if we didn't get Colleen and David to reprise their roles of Beatrice and Benedict. And then our season announcement was just in the middle of March. We try to have a lot of the actors chosen by then, but we're still casting, and I think we're almost complete now. Like I think last one was yesterday.
Yeah,
maybe. So it's still going.
Yeah, I see Carol, you've got your hand up.
Well, it's just a follow-up on that question. In fact, that question was kind of what I was going to ask, but your casting process, what was that like? And do you actually, you have people in mind like a Colleen Madden for some shows, or do you open it up for auditions and do you actually audition actors? Mm-hmm. And where does the union play your casting? And do you require AFTRA, or do you have to get exemptions?
I love all that. So we're an Actors Equity Association company. Right.
So we have so Actors Equity Association is the union for actors and stage managers. we have to have an equity stage manager. It's called Actors Equity Association. Abbreviation is equity. So we have to have an equity stage manager for every show. We are fortunate to have one person who does all of our shows. And then every company has a percentage, and it's negotiated with the union of how many equity actors they have to have in that season. Right now, we're at 63%. And most of the time, we're well over that percentage.
Right.
But yeah, audition process.
Yeah.
Some like Colleen and David that's who we need. Let's hope they're available. And we do our own, what we call general auditions, which is a non-equity auditions. We do 2 nights of that in February usually. And then at the Milwaukee Rep does a huge 2-day multi-company, like 20 or so companies around a table, which is a very intimidating room to come in and audition for. That they have their generals, and we get some people from there as well.
Yeah. So, in casting a season, it's a little bit of all of the above, Carol. So some roles we know, and we just make an offer. I mean, if I know that, I'll use Colleen and David, we make an offer. Are you available? That you're who we want. Other roles we'll do auditions for. We don't tend to do an open call audition for a specific role. Instead, what we do is, as Julie was saying, we have those general auditions every single season where anybody, whether they're a union actor or a non-union actor, can come to either of those, one or the other of those open auditions, so that we get to know them. They go into our database. And then when we are casting a role, we will invite people in who we've already seen some of their work and say, whether in an audition or on stage, and say, oh, hey, I want to have you 7 people come read for this role in Gaslight. And then we'll cast them that way.
I would say too that our monologue festival and our Wisconsin Rights is a beautiful way of introducing ourselves to to people that we don't know, that we've certainly used. Boy, I think of this, Jen, watching Kasem Abulagud in a at the monologue festival. And we had not worked with him ever, knew him. He was a friend of the theater, friend of a lot of our friends. And Jen looked at me and said, we need to cast him for Russian Troll Farm. And I said, oh my God. She goes, yes, we do. And he's been in multiple roles with Forward. So that's been a really great way of getting to know people.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, Jane.
Does it ever come down to money? I mean, when you offer, does anyone ever say, well, I'd like to play that, but I'm not, you have to pay me more?
Well, yeah, they say that.
They said, we do something kind of unusual here. We have a set rate that any actor, whether they are in the union or not in the union, gets paid in a given season. So every single actor in our current season got the same weekly salary. Now, we spend more money on a union actor because we pay a whole bunch of different fees to Actors Equity, health, pension, all of that. But we do a flat rate that goes to everyone, and then we raise that rate every year. And
that's regardless. It's regardless of union affiliation and regardless of experience. Like the newbie who's just making their Forward theater debut is being paid the same as, Colleen Madden. And
okay. So you can't say, Colleen can't say, well, because I'm this and this,
right,
I deserve more, and you pay her more than
right. Because the reality is everybody deserves more than we can pay, right? Every single person we use, and whether you could then say, oh, well, this person deserves even more, but the reality is everybody deserves more, and so we feel really good about the approach of saying, we've got a season of 20 actors. This is how much we can afford, while keeping in mind that we want to hit that bottom line. So we're continuing to be here 20 years from now. And it does make negotiations easier. We have, on rare occasion, had an actor say, can't do it for that, and walk away.
Fair.
Which is totally fair. But it also means that the last thing I want to do is walk into a rehearsal room and have actor A feeling like I'm here, but that person in the room across
Okay.
this table from me is making twice as much money as I am. I guess I'm only half as important as they are, and it's
We do the
not.
same thing, and Kathleen, this goes with your question. We do the same thing for designers.
Mhm.
All designers get paid the same stipend, and I like that when we are in tech and everybody's in a dark room together for 10 hours a day, that they know that they're all being paid the same. And I think that I think there's a collegiality that comes with that. Then there's not any sort of competition. I feel it's more collaborative.
Are
I'm
you
very happy
typical?
with that.
Are you
Pardon?
typical of regional theaters?
No, usually, I mean, certainly we know actors with more experience or whatever probably get paid a lot more. Without throwing anybody under the bus, oftentimes a new non-equity actor gets paid very, very little in a lot of theaters. And in terms of designers, scenic designers tend to get almost twice as much as costume designers or props designers.
And there can be a real gendered
Yeah.
aspect to that
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And part of our, it is partly mission driven that we do it this way because, yeah, if we pay the more experienced actor more and more and more, then it means that the less experienced actor the non-union actor is probably getting less and less and less and less because it's not an infinite pool of funds. How do we get the next generation, the pipeline of talent, to stay with this field if they can't pay for gas? Well, who can pay for gas now? But if they're not making a living wage, everybody at Forward makes above the living wage for our region for every single position anywhere in our theater. And the difference between our lowest paid person and our highest paid person is a very modest spread. We want people to be able to stick with the field, and for the folks who are at the top of their game, who if they went to one of the bigger theaters probably would make a higher weekly wage. It's not that much higher.
Right.
We're pretty good in terms of our peers in this area of what we pay. So someone's got a show at Milwaukee Rep on the main stage. Yeah, they're making more there, but they're not making multiples more. And
Right.
so it's everybody making an investment in the future and health of our ecosystem here.
Yeah.
It
We
sounds
like-
like the equity actors, by paying them, you're actually paying them a little less because you have more expenses connected with an equity actor. Is that
We,
correct?
no, we pay them. Everybody gets the same wage.
It just
And
costs
then, and
us
then
more.
we know, yeah, we're budgeting. Right now, an equity actor, just so you know, get their health is $206 a week that we pay, and 8% of total salary
So that's
for
above,
pension.
above
That's
the
above and
salary.
beyond their wage. So they don't get docked because we're paying the $206 for health.
So so there is an additional cost to have.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Having a union member,
Mhm.
there's an additional cost. In this state, it would be impossible to do shows at the caliber we want to do them at without union members. So we're happily paying that and being a member.
I see a question from Kathleen. What keeps us up at night and how can we help?
Huh.
I mean,
Cost.
the cost, it's really, I mean, I will say compared to a few years ago, it is unbelievably inspiring how enthusiastically the audience has come back. 3-4 years ago, we were still rebuilding from the pandemic dip. But we are I mean, practically every show now is a box office record for Forward. If you take out the fun homes
Right.
of the pre-pandemic era, pretty much everything we've done the last 2 seasons is setting attendance records. People are really back, and that is thrilling. We're able to do more and more new work. We're able to do more and more with our outreach programming, with our new work programming. And all of that is beyond thrilling for me, for all of us. And that's not anything we, well, ever took for granted, and certainly didn't take for granted after the events of 2020. So that's all great. Our costs are astronomically, I mean, but you all know this because you buy groceries and gas and everything else. Our costs are
Building material.
astronomically higher than they were, and that's not going to go down. It's only going to keep going up, and it has been. We have zero intention of keeping pace with that in our ticket prices, because that is a good way to, kill our art form. Also, so that's what keeps me up at night. Is like how does that how does that balance out?
And adding on to that, we've got a very healthy, about 50% of our income is from ticket sales and 50% is contributed income. And with that contributed income, I'm including individuals, grants, and foundations, and corporate sponsors. Those three, the grants, foundations, corporate sponsors, that a lot of, we're especially seeing of corporate sponsors, changed their areas of focus after the pandemic, understandably. But we're relying more and more on individuals, and my goodness, they have shown up. But that at what point do we need to look for alternative means of contributed income?
Yeah, because as I'm sure you all have heard us say in many different occasions, Wisconsin is at the bottom in terms of financial support for the arts. Sometimes we're only the 49th out of 50 states. Sometimes we're 50th. Regardless, the state is spending something like 18, 17 cents per capita on the support of the arts compared to other neighbors in the Midwest, where it ranges from a few dollars up to like $9, $10 in Minnesota. I mean, it's tough, so figuring that out. I see your follow-up about the kinds of decisions we're having to make. I mean, we've been working really hard to not pull back on our programming, not pull back on how many people we employ. There were, to your point earlier, Jane, about being in the black, there was some time during the pandemic where we weren't, but we were making that difference up out of our reserve because it was really important to us as a nonprofit. If we spent all those pre-pandemic years building up a rainy day fund with the reserve, we and our board were very committed to spending that. Not all of it, because we don't want it to become an existential threat to whether Forward can continue to be here in the long run, but a real comfort if we needed to spend some of that reserve to cover a loss in the season expenses as needed while the audience was coming back. So we've done that some, and we feel really good about having done that. That's the point of it. And the point of a nonprofit is not to pull back. So we haven't done less in our engagement programming. We haven't cut back on our staff or how many artists we hire. We are not increasing rates of pay for artists and staff at the same kind of percentages that you're seeing in the corporate world. I don't know that we still are above those cost of living numbers, but it's getting increasingly expensive. Healthcare is increasingly expensive. All these things are going up, and we have had to be somewhat more conservative in those percentage increases than we would have liked to be, just to make sure we can continue to hire just as many people and to not let our production value suffer or any of that.
And we've had to be strategic in we've got an unbelievable staff. And if you don't know them all, one of them is Scott Hayden, who's here producing our show. We've got Sarah Milestone as development director. Bree, I see her name. I don't see her gorgeous face, but Bree is our donor and audience relations manager. Is that what your services?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Bree. I messed that up. Celia Clare, our company manager, and Marcy Kearns, artistic associate. We also have a business manager, Alex Moskoff. So that's a tidy group of 7.
8.
Including Alex, 8. Yep. We want to pay them well. We want to make sure they're happy, the amount of times I'm sure Scott would love to be the marketing director of a bunch of people and actually have a marketing team. And Sarah, man, what she could do with actual employees under her would be fantastic. We can't do that right now. So we're asking staff to like, sorry, how can we help? I'd love to be able to grow our staff to a point where we can do even more of what we're doing. I think this tiny little group is doing exceptional work and really putting our hands out in the public and the community and working being a part of the community as much as we possibly can. But we all have ideas of how we can do more, and we have to balance that with the real capacity of the group of people we have right now.
Yeah.
So if I were given lots and lots of money, I would grow our staff.
Yep. Which would then, not to, be all trickle down economics or anything, but that really would directly impact the patron and community experience because we would have the capacity to do more.
Right.
But we can't reasonably take that on if we don't feel really solid about the revenue sources to cover it, because that's a long-term investment. We don't want to bring someone on and then a year later have to like eliminate that position because we're, not breaking even. So
Right.
that's next.
Yeah.
And who knows whether next is in 2 years or 10, I don't know.
Yeah.
But for now, we're really thrilled at the way the audience has come back, the way our community of individual donors has stepped up to get us back where we are breaking even. We are back in the black, which is incredible. And onward.
And we do have a couple of initiatives that we're not ready to talk about right now, but there's some stuff, we're
Some smaller
brewing
scale
on.
new things.
Brewing on.
And
yeah.
we're very committed right now with our current staff size to the idea of, cool, we have new ideas. Awesome. What thing we're currently doing are we going to stop doing to make room to
Right.
do a new thing? Because we are all very much at capacity. So we want to continue to innovate, but not burn everybody's
Right.
capacity down to the ground.
I feel like Michael and Susan had a question that we might not have answered, Jen.
Oh.
Right there. Comes with the auxiliary ways to make each show more out there. Yeah.
Oh.
Those booksellers. Yeah.
Ooh,
Talk
that was
about
so
that.
fun.
Did anybody buy a book? Bree did. Bree bought
did.
books from every one of the sellers.
Yep, so did I. Yeah. But to answer your question, Michael, it's really we start with a big staff brainstorm. We actually, as Julie was mentioning, we just did that for next season last week, where we talk about all the shows. We talk about what kinds of things we think might be fun to do or impactful to do, who might be good partners for those. So we start with that. We then we take those sort of brainstormed ideas, we share them with our advisory company of artists, we share them with our board of directors, and we sort of try to winnow down to really one good or possibly two if they don't take too much resource to pull off around each show. And we try to have those conversations as a season-wide look at it in order to make sure we're offering a variety of different kinds of opportunities. Like so we had the booksellers in the lobby and our partnerships with the Wisconsin Book Festival for a romance panel and with the libraries to do a book swap. Those were all kind of fun and low-hanging fruit around Lady Disdain. We did a really amazing video, which is living on our website, of incredible women in our community who were immigrants to this area, talking about their experiences that we were able to play in the lobby during Ironbound. We had all of our local celebrity producers during Gutenberg. During Primary Trust, we partnered with 11 different nonprofits who were supporting people in our community who might benefit from the same kinds of support that the characters in Primary Trust needed. And making that, both offering tickets to all of those organizations to bring either their employees or their clients to see the show, but then also sharing really widely in our lobby and on our website information about those services and what kinds of support those nonprofits needed. So really a kind of wide range of different ways to engage with the different shows we were doing. And so I really like that we're like, okay, we're not going to have an art exhibit for 3 out of the 4 shows. We're not going to do a panel discussion for 3 out of the 4 shows. What different kinds of things can we do? And
Right.
it's a staff-wide conversation initially. Transparency, it's one of our values. We have our wonderful values. We did a little thing for our staff and our board. I don't know if you can see this. I made a little sticker. Well, Scott made the sticker. I asked Scott to make the sticker,
Yeah.
hence the royal we of like our core forward values. It's artists, audience, citizenship, collaboration, creativity, financial responsibility, integrity, leadership, nourishment. That one's our Celia Claire. Let's feed everybody, and transparency. And those are kind of our watchwords. Because we all do better when we all know each other better, and you know what we need. We know what you need. How can it's what the talkbacks do for us. Hearing what people are looking for, what they're finding with us, what they're not finding with us. So whether it's one of these brand new AMAs, which this was a huge success. I look forward to doing it again.
We had cool people join us.
We really did. Or the talkbacks or the emails. I have 23 pages of emails that people sent me about Lady Disdain, which is really fun. And everybody in the staff, we review those and we think about them, and we use it to do better. We want to be a community resource, and hearing from the community is how we can do that.
There we go.
And it's like almost 4:00. We filled an hour so easily. You all brought the best questions. And apologies to those who are watching the recorded version of this live. We will endeavor to hit record at the beginning next time. But we will do it again. So you'll come live and ask your questions that time.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Really. What a
Thank
pleasure. Yeah. We'll see you. We'll see you in the theater.
Yes.
You're all amazing.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.